Good morning.
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 All right, let's see here. All right. As far as from the applicant side, is this all we're expecting today?
Correct.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let me do a brief introduction and we can go ahead and get started. This is the July 23rd date of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is Ashton Tucker, and I'll be serving as your zoning hearing examiner for the city of Cincinnati, presiding over this hearing. We are currently on the record with ZH20250064 in regard to the property at 3404 Pape Avenue. Let's see. The purpose of this hearing is to allow participants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. This hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If the public were present, they would have an opportunity to speak. Then I would have the zoning plans examiner that produced the staff report regarding the application provide testimony. If there is any testimony that is in opposition to the application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond and offer any testimony to rebut that. At the end of this, what will happen is that I will give everybody an opportunity for a closing statement. The applicant will have the last opportunity ultimately to have the last word. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing and decisions can be expected within 3 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, I will do my best to troubleshoot those to the best of my ability. However, if it is beyond my capabilities, I may continue or postpone this hearing at my discretion. All persons providing testimony must be sworn in now. So if you're providing testimony, raise your right hands for me. All right. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Starting with Ms. Hagan, what can you tell me about this application?
Yes, so we were hired by the homeowners, Eric and Robin, to design and install a deck on their home, which they had just recently purchased. We did research prior to meeting with them, discovered that it was a hillside zoned property. We met with them, designed a space, worked back and forth on design, ultimately fell onto a deck that actually is mainly located on the side of the home. But the main goal with this deck was to cover or replace a failing patio that's on that side entrance to the home. And also allow them to be able to utilize a rear door exit that was placed by, I guess, a previous owner. And then that previous owner probably discovered that this was hillside zoned and quit the project, basically boarded up the hole in the back of the home. Never placed a full door there and never placed a deck there. So they literally had a hole in the back of their home that had no way of accessing the rear of the home and utilizing that door space. So we designed a walkway that wrapped around to a main deck area. We did design it to use steel framing so that they would not have to rebuild this for hopefully a very long time, if ever, so that they won't have to go through this again. And ultimately, we came to the city of Cincinnati with this application and then discovered that the property was parceled out into 4 different separate parcels. So we had to walk through the process with them of getting survey, helping get those all combined. And now we are here. We are requesting a 10.5-foot rear yard setback. I'm sorry, yes. a variance so that we would be able to place this deck where we have designed it to be.
Thank you very much. We'll go over to Mr. Lashide. What would you like me to know from the perspective of the planning department?
Sure. So as Ms. Hagan mentioned, the properties in the Hillside Overlay District, setbacks in the Hillside Overlay District are based on averaging of the existing setbacks of the properties on either side. The code says when there's a property with a building on it on one side, but not on the other side, that in place where there would be a building, we measure using the base setback requirements in that zoning district. So for this lot, we measure the setbacks of the home to the east, which is a pretty similar layout to the subject property. Then there is not a house to the west, so we use the base SF10 setback requirements. The house to the east already has a deck that's very similar to what the applicant is proposing. However, these lots are both unusually shallow. They're wider than they are deep, which is not common for residential properties in the city of Cincinnati. So there's no way to meet the base rear yard setback because of the unusual lot configuration. And even when we average that base rear yard setback with the setbacks of the house to the east, you still get a not really a buildable parcel. The existing home would not comply with the setback requirement. So it seems to me that the applicant is proposing something that is appropriate given the unusual shape of the parcel and is compatible with surrounding homes. Like I said, the house to the east has a deck similar to what's being proposed here. And hillside relief is necessary just because of the way that the code requires us to determine setbacks and the unusual configuration of this parcel. So staff finds that the project is compliant with the hillside overlay guidelines. There's no real excavation required except for drilled piers and no alterations to the topography, nothing that gives us any cause for concern, and staff recommends approval.
All right, we'll move ahead into closing remarks. Again, like I said, I would start with Mr. Lashide. Anything in closing?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, anything in closing, Ms. Hagan?
No, thank you, Matt, for help in recapping some of the things that I missed out on, and I just appreciate your time and consideration in the matter.
Okay. So I'll close out this hearing. What I can tell you is that I will be approving the application. I do have to formalize that in a written decision, however, so that takes me a little time. Again, expect it within 3 weeks. You'll get an email with it. Okay.
With that, thank you so much. Have a great